Hello all, welcome to Sand Compounding. This is Sandeep Anand. I'm starting a new series called 20 for 2030. And what does that even mean? For investors in investing, the formula of compounding, which is very powerful, and the formula is P into 1 plus R by 100 whole to the power N. And N is an exponential factor. N is nothing but, we all know, it's a time invested, time we invest in the capital is invested in a business, or the tenure as we can call. And the tenure or longevity of our investment is very important because if we make investments in businesses that can sustain for 10 to 12 years with a good level of growth and at the right valuation, we are made home. The returns on the capital invested would be very high. Now, how do we find businesses which can run and which has such longevity of 10-12 years, especially in today's world of disruption? Every business is getting disrupted. Erstwhile, no wonder Warren Buffett, the legendary investor, used to find businesses which are least disruptive and that can run for a long time with growth, and he called it as moat. While moat investing, I don't know if it's really that relevant in today's generation because all businesses are getting disrupted with the advent of digital and mobile and internet. Now, identifying such businesses is a very difficult task, and I have tried my best to find out 20 such businesses which can pay way till 2030, and come 2030, in hindsight, these businesses would have been great to hold for such a longevity period. Now, how do we find these businesses? I've applied the principle of inversion, which I learned from Charlie Munger, and we look forward to 2030, and when we look back in hindsight, the inversion principle, based on that, what businesses could and why those businesses could sustain till that period is what I've done. So here are such 20 stocks, and one most important thing, not in investing, not all businesses are great investments at all point of time, but most point of time. So there could be reasons being valuation is one important factor which can control the time when we enter into a business. If there are frothy valuations, our returns would be mediocre. So it's very important to identify great longevity, great businesses which has longevity, and at the same time that has good growth and the right valuation. So, but this could be a blueprint or a watch list that we can use to identify, and when the correction happens or recession happens, these great businesses could be a great entry point, could give a great entry point. Hope this gets interesting as we move on. One such stock in 2030 is Mercado Libre, a Latin American based, Argentina based company, a leader of e-commerce in entire Latin America and leader of payments, digital payments in entire Latin America. Mercado Libre means free market, founded by Marcus Galperin, a great CEO who has run this company for last decade successfully, come through recessions of 2008, lived through that and still doing great. They are the leader in e-commerce and digital payments world in Latin America. Latin America is a highly unbanked population. It's a cash economy, roughly 60% unbanked population, and Mercado Pago is the underlying gem within Mercado Libre, which is going to explode across and proliferate across Latin America in the payments world, with digital mobile exploding and 5G coming up in the next 1 or 2 years. I think Latin American markets is going to leapfrog into the digital and banking and digital payments, and that's precisely why so many fintechs are coming up in Latin America. But Mercado Libre has a very powerful platform, roughly 250 million users and still growing at 35%. Mercado Pago was founded as part of an innovation to enable payments within the platform, but Mercado Pago has become a revolution in payments in entire Latin American market. Now let's analyze deeply on why Mercado Pago came into the 20 for 2030 list. Get into the deep analysis of Mercado Libre, the leading e-commerce platform in Latin America. They have a total registered volume of 250 million users, gross merchandise value of $13 billion per year, growing at 35%. Sometimes they're growing even faster. Now PayPal invested $750 million in 2019. What they looked at is more the Mercado Pago business with a payments business in South America, and they're carrying a cash of $900 million and debt of $750 million in the balance sheet. Now total gross billings forward looking is around roughly $2.4 billion, which is growing again 73% year on year, forex neutral, and a net revenue rate of around $2 billion in FY19, growing at 100% year on year, forex neutral. Now, gross merchandise value of $13 billion in 2019, and they are a market leader in e-commerce in all the main Latin American countries: Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica, Ecuador, Mexico, Peru, Uruguay, and Venezuela, based on the number of unique visitors and page views. Now, this is a holistic view of the platform that you can see. Mercado Libre has 6 segments to that. They have the software as a service, stairs, and ERP, which are the Mercado shops, which are set up and maintained by the merchants. Then the Mercado Pago, which is the fintech and payment services, and a whole lot of other financial services. They have the Mercado Libre advertisement business on the marketplace. It's within the platform where advertisers promote their brands and products, and they pay on a CPC basis, cost per click basis on product ads, and on a CPM basis for display banners, which is a great business to have, just like Alibaba. I mean, this is very much replicated on that basis. Mercado Credito, which is a new credit solution which they are giving to merchants, like cash advances and working capital loans to sellers and to the buyers as well. So that is a huge leverage. So consumer retailing financing is also done on the platform. Then they have Mercado Libre itself, as we spoke, which is pretty much sellers pay commissions on successful transactions equal to a percentage of the value of an item. So it's in the revenue source is basically from the sellers, certain percentage of commission of all the transactions, and that's the gross merchandise volume. And finally, Mercado Envios, which is shipping and fulfillment services, the logistic solutions they are offering. So end-to-end holistic services they are offering, right from providing the flat platform to the merchants all the way to the fulfillment, to the last mile connectivity to the consumers, including the capitals, consumer financing, working capital, loans, and all whatnot. I mean, Mercado Libre is the go-to platform where they're offering everything to the merchants in South America, and Latin America is a hugely untapped, unbanked and underbanked population, and it's a great market to be in. They have good gross margins at 50%, and healthy 10% of the revenues is spent in product development and research. Here 10% revenue spent in R&D is not that much, considering it's a technology platform business. Probably they have more OPEX also dedicated to marketing. Now they're growing at 75%, currently has 37 million merchant credit loans per quarter, and 10 million consumer loans per quarter. So it's a great scale advantage they have with more merchants, more consumers coming in. The capital business providing credit loans itself can scale up a lot. 37 million loans, merchant loans in total, it's growing at 75%. So this itself can become a significant portion of their growth aspect. Now Mercado Pago, which is a underlying business, they are becoming slowly the digital payments leader in Latin American market. Mercado Pago is part of Mercado Libre company, and it's kind of the value is not really unlocked in Mercado Pago. I would say it was started as an online e-commerce platform payments channel, and Mercado Pago went and became the leader in online and digital payments in entire Latin America, even off the platform. Today the share of on platform is 50% and off platform is 50%, and totally they have 220 million users registered on the platform. Now they are offering a comprehensive payment services, both online offline transactions covering 25 billion transactions volume, the GTV, in 2019, and they are calling it as the payments transaction volume, TPV, total payments transaction volume, and they are doing roughly $25 billion per year. Just Mercado Pago gross total payments transaction volume is $25 billion per year. They are currently available in leading markets: Argentina, Brazil, Mexico, Colombia, Venezuela, Chile, Uruguay, and Peru. Now 50% is the share of on platform, as we discussed, and 50% off platform. So off platform itself is a significant external scale that is available for growth. So entire Latin America, we can see in the next couple of slides later, they have roughly 35 to 40% penetration of population who are using banking services itself, and the remaining 50 to 60% is unbanked and underbanked. And credit card usage as a method of payment is roughly 20-25%, as against developed nations which are 55-60%. And there is a huge future value creation possibility in digital payments, with mobile penetrating deep into the areas, rural areas and tier 2, tier 3 cities in Latin America. More people are going to come on board for digital payments, and commerce also is moving into digital. So they have today 18 LATAM countries, and out of that 638 million population, just 370 million, roughly 50%, is having internet access, and they have roughly 220 million e-commerce customers. That is just 30% of the population is today using e-commerce, and remaining 70% is still on brick and mortar. So online commerce growth itself is 20%. So the e-commerce growth itself is 20%, and that's why we are seeing Mercado Libre growing at 30-35%, and the payments volume is growing at 60-70%. So the growth can continue unless there are disruptors that come in. There could be competition that can come in, which can moderate the growth a bit, but still Mercado Libre being such a big comprehensive platform, the network effect, their growth should sustain, and they should still exist in the next decade. Here is a holistic slide that talks about why I think Mercado Libre would have been a great business in hindsight when we look back in 2030. So it's a leader, first mover in LATAM markets. They proliferate across the LATAM markets. They are present in every country as a leader in digital commerce and payments. South America just scratched the surface in their banking, mobile and internet adoption. A very high 60% of population is unbanked, underbanked. We know that. We discussed this, and it's a cash economy slowly translating and leapfrogging into digital economy. Online commerce itself is growing at 20%, so digital payments growing at more than 100% there, and both of Mercado Libre and Pago can scale to much larger value if they capitalize on this trend. Only 30% e-commerce adoption so far, so again the rest of the population and across the countries, new geographies, new customers are still lying ahead as an external scale of opportunity. Network effect is really high. Both merchants coming on board, so many merchants having storefronts, they feel a sense of ownership and a prominence given to them. They feel the entrepreneurship when they run the business, manage the storefronts on these platforms, unlike other e-commerce retailers who put pressure on suppliers with contract burdens. A completely integrated platform, backward and forward, would help them to provide all services to the merchants and consumers. They don't have to look outside for any services. It's all offered within the package, which is great. And finally, a great management with strong vision and focus. They had weathered the 2008 economic crisis and Argentina currency crisis, Venezuela crisis, and still holding their forte firmly. So let's hope that they stay the next decade, they strive through the next decade, and still appear a monopoly in e-commerce in Latin American markets when we look back in 2030. Hope this was helpful. Thank you.